Imagine this. It's the first day of school, right? And every student in a K-12 classroom gets their own device, laptop, tablet, whatever. You feel that initial buzz, the excitement about personalized learning, instant collaboration, a whole digital world opening up. It sounds amazing, doesn't it? But then reality kind of kicks in. The Wi-Fi keeps dropping out. Maybe half the devices aren't charged or, the apps they need just won't connect. Suddenly that shiny new tech feels, well, less like a tool and more like a headache. So today we're digging into why that dream of one-to-one tech in schools often depends on something you can't even see, but it's absolutely critical.
It really is fascinating, isn't it? Everyone focuses on the devices themselves, the laptops, the tablets, but the real game changer, it's the infrastructure underneath it all. What we want to explore is how districts can move past just having the tech to making it, genuinely powerful for learning. We'll look at the real benefits, sure, but also those challenges people don't always talk about and the actual steps to build a network that really works for students and teachers. Because ultimately, the goal is to make sure this tech investment is a huge leap forward for education, not a frustrating step back.
Exactly. So if you're wondering what it really takes to make classroom tech work smoothly, not just for kids, but for teachers, admins, the whole school community, then you are definitely in the right place for this exploration. Okay, so let's just clarify what we mean by one-to-one. We're talking about every single student having their own dedicated device for schoolwork. It's a big shift, right? Moving beyond those occasional trips to the computer lab, technology becomes this constant, accessible thing, and it supports all kinds of stuff, project-based learning, kids working at their own pace, group projects. The upsides seem pretty clear. More personalized learning, better collaboration, access to way more digital tools and resources.
But here's the million-dollar question, really. Why do so many of these exciting tech initiatives kind of fizzle out after the initial buzz? Often, it boils down to depending on something that gets overlooked. The infrastructure simply isn't built to handle it. You need a reliable network, one with enough capacity. It's not just nice to have, it's the absolute foundation. Without it, even the best devices feel clunky. And those benefits you mentioned, they just don't materialize. The network isn't just plumbing, it's a strategic asset for learning.
That makes total sense.
Yeah,
So it's not nearly enough to just hand out laptops. You're talking about creating a whole, like a digital learning ecosystem. Is that right?
precisely.
Supporting all the devices, yeah, but also the interactive tools, the cloud apps that everyone's using day in, day out.
Yeah.
And crucially, every bit of tech needs a clear educational reason behind it. It has to fit the curriculum, help kids actually learn and remember things better across all grades.
Exactly. And, if we're really integrating this stuff properly, the physical classroom has to change too.
Hmm.
Think about flexible furniture, right?
Yeah.
So kids can work alone on their device or easily shift into groups. And the practical things, enough power outlets, charging carts maybe, places to securely store devices,
Oh, yeah. The charging. Always the charging.
always. And foundational to all of this, reliable Wi-Fi everywhere. For everyone, including students with disabilities, it has to be equitable. The whole point is making these devices tools, not just another frustration point for teachers and students.
It's easy to forget those practical bits, but they're vital. And when you do have that ecosystem working, it really changes teaching and feedback, doesn't it?
Mm.
Teachers can pull in multimedia, do quick polls, use interactive simulations, makes lessons way more dynamic.
Mm.
Plus, you can see right away if students are getting it and give that immediate personalized feedback.
Mm.
And differentiating instruction tailoring things for different kids, whether they're in elementary, middle, or high school, that becomes so much more manageable.
And that's where things get really powerful. Think about collaboration. With a solid network, students, teachers, they can work together on documents projects in real time. Doesn't matter if they're in the same room or across the school.
Right.
And access to content. You're not limited by dusty textbooks anymore. You've got open educational resources, free stuff, constantly updated materials. It keeps learning relevant, connected to what's happening now,
Yeah, textbooks are instantly out of date, aren't they?
pretty much.
And let's not forget the teacher's workload. Good tech infrastructure can actually help reduce it. Learning platforms can automate some grading, manage assignments, track student progress.
Which frees up so much time.
Exactly. Time for actual teaching, for interacting with students. Plus, planning lessons becomes more flexible, sharing resources with colleagues gets easier. It boosts efficiency, which hopefully means happier teachers and, better education overall.
Okay, so let's say a school district is thinking about this, or maybe scaling up an existing one-to-one program. Where on earth do they begin? The very, very first step, a really thorough assessment of what they've already got, their current network infrastructure.
Just counting routers isn't enough, I guess.
Not even close. You need to analyze bandwidth use, how much is being used now, peak times, check Wi-Fi coverage and capacity. Can it handle dozens of kids connecting in one room? Look at the age of the hardware switches, routers, access points, even the cabling matters. Is it old Cat 5 or something newer?
Right.
The whole point is to find the weak spots, the bottlenecks, before you add hundreds or thousands of new devices. That assessment gives you the roadmap for planning and, crucially, budgeting.
Okay, so you figure out where you stand. Then what? What are the absolute must-haves for a network that can handle this scale, maybe even grow in the future? Bandwidth seems obvious. It's like the lifeblood, right? Demand just skyrockets. You need play not just for today's devices, but for tomorrow's apps, which always seem to need more. And Wi-Fi, you mentioned capacity. That means upgrading, probably, like Wi-Fi 6 or 6E.
Definitely. Those newer standards are built for density, for lots of devices packed into classrooms, giving reliable connections.
And making it easy to connect new devices, that onboarding piece.
Automated onboarding saves a ton of IT headache, getting those Chromebooks or tablets online quickly.
And we can't forget the kids who don't have good internet at home, that digital divide issue. It impacts homework, everything.
That's a critical piece of the puzzle, absolutely. But alongside connectivity, you have this huge responsibility for security. Increased devices, increased connections, it means increased risk. So strong firewalls are non-negotiable. Content filtering to block inappropriate stuff. Some districts are even using AI now to monitor for threats.
Yeah.
And it's all tied to protecting student data, meaning regulations like CP, the Children's Internet Protection Act. You need clear privacy policies that are actually enforced. The goal is a safe digital space where tech helps learning, doesn't expose kids to harm.
Okay, network's strong, it's secure, but now you've got potentially thousands of devices out there. How do you even manage all of that? Keeping track, fixing them, seems like a logistical nightmare waiting to happen.
It can be without a plan.
Right.
You need a smart strategy, clear asset tags, a good inventory system. You also have to anticipate the help desk getting slammed, so plan staffing for that, maybe tiered support.
Like basic issues handled one way, bigger problems another.
Exactly. And specialized software helps enormously. Asset management tools can automate tracking, push out software updates, schedule maintenance.
So tech issues get fixed fast, kids aren't sitting there unable to work.
Minimizing that learning disruption is key. You know, it's interesting. One of the biggest hurdles isn't always the tech specs. It's often the money, and specifically understanding the total cost.
The total cost of ownership, the TCO.
Precisely. It's way more than just buying the laptops or tablets. You have to factor in upgrading the network cabling, access points, switches, software licenses add up. Then there's ongoing teacher training that's huge.
Professional development is critical.
Critical. Plus paying IT staff and budgeting for inevitable repairs and eventually replacing the devices down the line.
So how do schools manage that? It sounds expensive.
They have to get creative. Look for grants. E-rate funding is a big one. Maybe pass bond measures or consider leasing instead of buying outright. It's about making the funding sustainable long term.
Okay, so the budget's handled, network's humming,
Right.
but devices break, kids drop them, things just stop working. How do you handle that without derailing lessons? Downtime is lost learning time.
Absolutely. Mitigation is key. Have a pool of spare devices ready for quick swaps. That's often the fastest fix.
Like a loaner program.
Exactly. And have clear, efficient repair policies. Who handles it? How long should it take? And before you buy devices, check the vendor's service level agreements, their SLAs. What are their promised repair turnaround times? That matters.
Good point.
Some districts even set up their own in-house repair shops or partner with local techs to speed things up.
Makes sense. Keep them working.
Now, you touched on it earlier, but this question of access outside of school, it's a massive equity challenge, right? If learning relies on digital tools, what about kids without reliable internet at home for homework? Or, if schools have to go remote?
Yeah, that digital divide is stark.
It really is. The move to digital learning can unfortunately widen that gap if we're not careful. So, districts need solutions. Providing mobile hotspots is one option. Partnering with ISPs for low-cost plans. Maybe even investing in devices with built-in LTE for students who truly lack access.
It's not just a tech problem, it's fundamentally about fairness.
It's absolutely an equity issue, making sure the benefits reach all students, especially those in underserved areas.
Okay, beyond the hardware, the budget, the access, how do schools make sure the tech is actually used for learning? And not just, games or social media or worse.
Right. It's about safeguarding the learning environment. This goes beyond basic filtering. It means clear policies on acceptable network use, using monitoring systems not to spy, but to ensure compliance and spot potential misuse.
Like keeping kids focused on the task at hand.
Exactly. And using granular controls, so students only access resources appropriate for their age and the specific lesson. Minimize distractions, protect them from harmful stuff, keep the tech productive, and importantly, reviewing and updating those policies regularly as tech evolves.
That makes sense.
And think about the sheer logistics again, managing thousands of devices. It's huge without smart systems. Automating device handout at the start of the year or when new students arrive, that saves incredible amounts of admin time.
I can imagine.
And robust asset tracking, knowing where every device is. Often tied into that management software we talked about, helps with inventory, finding lost devices, plus automating maintenance, pushing out software updates, security patches overnight, keeps devices secure and running well without manual intervention for every single one.
So automation is key for managing at scale.
Absolutely essential for efficiency and keeping the whole fleet healthy.
And maybe the most important piece of all, preparing kids for the future. Teaching them to be good digital citizens.
Oh, fundamentally important. You need clear, comprehensive, acceptable use policies, AUPs, that are actually enforced.
What should those cover?
Expectations for responsible use, online safety, data privacy, how to interact respectfully online. But it's not just rules. You need to weave digital citizenship education right into the curriculum, K through 12.
Teaching them how to navigate the digital world.
Exactly. Covering things like cyberbullying, plagiarism, protecting their own information, how to tell if an online source is trustworthy.
Crucial thinking skills, basically.
Yes. The goal is to build a culture where tech supports ethical, responsible behavior, preparing them for a life where tech is just everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, what really stands out from all this is that it's not just about buying devices. Getting from just having tech to actually transforming learning, it requires this whole ecosystem approach. Solid networks, smart budgets, thoughtful policies, digital citizenship. Every single piece matters. Infrastructure really is the make or break factor between frustration and real impact.
So boiling it down for everyone listening, whether you're a parent, a teacher, running a school, or just interested in education's future. It's clear that classroom tech is so much more than just the device itself. It's about intentionally designing this whole environment where technology truly serves learning, supports everybody involved, and equips students for what's next. Here's something to think about. Our world is only getting more digital, right? So how do we make absolutely sure that every student doesn't just get access to cool tech, but also gets the fundamental support, the infrastructure, and the critical thinking skills to use it well, responsibly, effectively, for their whole lives? What part of this discussion resonates most with you? What's the first thing you think needs focus in your own community or school? Thank you for joining us for this exploration today. We really hope it gave you a clearer picture of what makes one-to-one technology truly powerful when it's built on the right foundation.